in preparing the Depo Prep Notebook, which that's in Module 4, it seems like it would be voluminous. Yes, it is. Now, because remember, the Depo Prep Notebook is not the same notebook that they're bringing to the deposition with them. The Depo Prep Notebook is just what it sounds like. It's for them to prep for the deposition. And in order to prep for the deposition, they have to know everything that that witness knows so that they can write their outline, and then they have the notebook that goes with them actually to the deposition. And when I say notebook, could be electronic as well. But so here was when you say copies of discovery responses mentioning that witness, what do you mean? So I actually found an old, and this wasn't from one of my cases, but I found some interrogatory responses, just random ones online. And I'm going to pull it up for you. So there's a tab in that Depo Prep Notebook titled Discovery Responses mentioning that witness. And here's where it all comes into play. So let's say Paul Black is our deponent, and you're putting together the prep notebook so that the attorney knows, what does Paul Black know or maybe know? What does the other side say in their discovery responses that Paul Black knows or might know? So this is what it might look like in the Depo Prep Notebook. So you've got the cover page that tells them which interrogatory response it is. And then on page, so the first page that mentions him is page 6, right? So it mentions him in the answer to interrogatory number 3. So you have one option. You could just include the pages that mention him, and you're highlighting what it is. So in this way, the attorney can quickly be able to surmise that Paul Black is one of the persons in their organization with personal knowledge of allegations in the complaint. Then they would also know, so the next one for reasons for discontinuing the My Way product, and identify the individuals with personal knowledge of said reasons. So Paul Black's mentioned again. So they would know, all right, I've got to ask Paul Black, you know, the other side specifically said Paul Black has personal knowledge of said reasons why the product was discontinued. So you would literally, so you have two options. You could include the whole discovery response in there. I don't think that that's necessary at all. All I ever used to do is the front page, the pages that specifically reference Paul Black, making sure that you include the full interrogatory and the request and the response. So just because Paul Black's mentioned on this page doesn't mean this would be good enough. You got to let the attorney know, well, what is it that they're answering? And then the final page that I would put in there would be the certificate of service or the verification, so that they also know the date of those interrogatories or any document request. But this is what you would do with everything, just about everything that's mentioned in that Depo Prep Notebook. So you do this with the various pleadings. You know, if Paul Black is mentioned as someone in the complaint or the answer or counterclaim, if Paul Black is mentioned in, you know, some pending motions or briefs that have been filed with the court, essentially everything that Paul Black knows or could know, the attorney needs to know. So yes, it can be voluminous. I've had, when I say Depo Prep Notebooks, I've had Depo Prep Notebooks that consisted of 4 or 5 boxes of documents. And it just depends on, you know, how big the case is and how active that person is. So, and then the follow-up question to that was, then how does that look when it gets to the attorney? So it looks like this is part of it. But what the attorney is going to do is go in and maybe use these flags, or they're flagging them or putting them in folders online if it's electronic. They're going to flag the things that they want to bring with them to the deposition for potential exhibits. So then you're going to be able to get those exhibits ready well in advance. And they're going to write their outline. And they're going to be able to do that because they can go through all of this stuff and know more about Paul Black. And they would do this both for preparing for depositions that the other side has noticed as well, regardless. So maybe the outline is their cross-examination outline. So regardless of who the witness is, their side or your side, you do the depo prep notebook.